Alright, in the last video we created our first view, and it was that really basic just homepage thing. So I want the view to actually do something. So I'm going to introduce you to Django templates. And basically what a template is it contains all the static content, such as your HTML code, your static files, such as an image or something like that. It contains all this static information, so Django can load that anytime a web page is requested. But it also contains a special syntax where you can insert code and change elements of that page dynamically. So, for example, a home page, if you have a user logged in, maybe you want to display your whole home page, and then you want to say hi, but then the username. So everything on the web page would be static. It's not going to change from one user to the other user, but the username is going to change. So that'd be your dynamic content that you can change based upon who's requesting the web page. And we're going to get into that in this video. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go back into our settings.py file. So I'm going to open that up. And I'm going to scroll down here. We're going to use this variable here, base_dir, and remember that really just equates to our project's root level directory, wherever the manage.py file lives. We're going to go down here to the templates. And you can see this, this template section here. You don't really have to worry about the backend. There are other backends for templates that you can specify, but that's beyond the scope of this tutorial, so we're not going to get into this. So this dirs means directories, and this appdirs is your application directories. So basically what this is saying, when appdirs is set to true, Django is going to, if you tell Django to look for a template, it's going to look in your application directory, a directory called template inside of there, and then it's going to look through all the files you have in here. This other dirs list, this is where we can specify other directories that we want Django to also look for, template files in outside of our specific applications. So I'm going to do this os.path.join, and I'm going to say join that base_dir, which is our project's root level directory, and templates. Alright, put a comma at the end. And let's see, that looks right to me. It doesn't look like I have any syntax errors. What I like to do after I change a file, like the settings.py file, I'll just run the server. Because running the server also does a lot of syntax checking on your configuration file. So I didn't get any errors, so that should be good. So what that said is join a base directory, which the base directory equates to the directory manage.py lives in, and templates. So now I need to make a directory called templates in here. And now Django is set to also look inside of this file right now for new templates. So I'm going to make a new template called Notepad++. I'm going to make it called home.html. We're going to create that. And I have this raw HTML5 script right here that I'm just going to copy and paste in here. It's from w3schools.com and their HTML section. So if you're curious, you can go back in here and look at like their HTML5 intro and whatnot. But I'm just going to copy and paste it in here. Alright, so we're going to paste this in. I'm going to get rid of, we'll just leave all this in here for right now, just to make sure that this home.html works, and then we will change everything in here. Alright, so now we just need to change our view function, really. We just really need to change our view function so that it loads that template as opposed to just doing that raw text that we did in the last video. So let's go into tutorial, and let's open Notepad++ views.py. Yeah, it was already open. Okay. Alright, so we need to change this up a bit because this HTTP response is just putting this in plain text out to the page, and we don't want to do that. We want to load that template. So what I'm going to do is I don't need this HTTP response imported anymore. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to say from Django.shortcuts import render. And render is going to help us render our template and do all the fancy magic stuff behind the scenes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say return render. Render always requires a request, a template file. So that's in our templates directory, and we called it home.html. And it requires a context, which I'm just passing it. It's a dictionary, so I'll do this so it's a little bit easier to understand. So context is equal to that. It's just an empty dictionary, and we're going to include that context. In the future, this context is going to include it's a dictionary that maps a key value pair. So if we want to pass in any type of variables to our template, we do it through this context dictionary, and you're going to see that here shortly. So let's save that, and let's run our server and see if I messed anything up with that syntax. Looks good so far. Let's see. Come over here. Let's go to localhost 800 home. Oh, template does not exist, so I messed something up. Templates home.html. So this is your debug menu, by the way. Contains all sorts of good information. So let's see if we can figure out what I did wrong. So exception value templates home.html. Django tried loading these templates in this order, so it goes in, it does go into the templates. It's going into the templates directory twice. Source does not exist. I know what I did wrong. Alright, Django is already going to look in the templates directory, so I don't need to specify this templates directory right now. When we did that os.path.join basedir templates in our configuration file, I told it to automatically go and look in the templates directory. So when I do that, if I type templates home.html, now it's going to go into our templates directory. Look for a templates directory inside of that, and then look for home. So I just don't need that. We'll save that. Run the server again. Let's see if we can bring that up. And refresh, and there we go. So here's our HTML file that's all loaded strictly from our template.